Hello and welcome to another episode of Unboxing with Bill. On today's episode, I'm going to delve into this box and show you some really cool games. Okay friends, so a number of months ago, I was sent a box full of games from a company called The Red Room. And it was very exciting because I had had a chance to play one of their games at VentureCon 2 in July of 2023, and that game was a total blast. Shout out to Judd for GMing a killer game. So I became excited and interested in this line of products by The Red Room. They make a whole bunch of different games in different game genres, and I really like the style, I like the presentation, and the gameplay itself was awesome. And I am finally now getting around to unboxing this awesome set of treats. So just full disclosure, I was not aware of how many games and game products the Red Room had produced. And to my knowledge, they have a lot, and they are all kind of not only mechanically similar, but they're set in sort of a similar world. I don't even know how to best describe the experience, but we'll start with this first book. So this is Wretched, and if you look at the cover, I don't know if we could see that there, Carafa, but I think it looks good. You see this kind of insane gonzo cover, and immediately what I thought of when I saw this was old school Yaghmour world, kind of this idea of this mix of fantasy and sci-fi and post-apocalyptic elements. And sure enough, you start to dig through this, and it just looks like exactly what I loved about old school kind of Yaghmour world. So I'm going to read this opening, this introduction, because I think it'll help to give us some context about their game. Are you ready to embrace your inner anti-hero and delve into the dark cinematic world of Wretched role-playing? In the Wretchedverse, you'll get to take on the role of anti-heroes in a variety of settings, from dark fantasy to post-apocalyptic fiction and everything in between. This is the revised version of the old school rules that have been used in prior releases by the Red Room. We are now publishing this in preparation for the second edition of the previously published titles, which will be setting books including some rules variations instead of full games. You will notice a few changes, but the revised rules are entirely compatible with the first iteration of the Red Room's Wretchedverse. The Red Room's Wretchedverse. And this book is easily adaptable to earlier editions of the most famous role-playing game. To get Wretched, you need nothing else but this book and a few dice, though you can find several titles already published for the Wretchedverse. For fans of 1980s Conan ripoffs, Wretched Bastards offers a dark fantasy world to explore. If you prefer spaghetti westerns, Wretched Country allows you to ride off into the sunset as gunslinging antiheroes. For a more historically accurate setting, Wretched Epoch immerses players in a world of horror in 19th century Paris. Fans of exploitation movies from the late 60s to the 90s can indulge in their favorite genre with Wretchploitation. Those who enjoy future noir will love Wretched New Flesh, where you can explore a dystopian Moroccan city inspired by the works of William S. Burroughs, William Gibson, and David Cronenberg. Wretched Space and Wretched Apocalypse offer exciting sci-fi adventures in a sleazy space opera game world and a post-apocalyptic fiction game, respectively. Finally, Wretched Darkness delves into the darker side of human nature with its horror urban fantasy setting. These are the ones already available, but other settings are planned, such as Wretched Vigilantes, a street-level superheroes game. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or a newcomer to the OSR, Wretched has something to offer everyone. That is an overview of these products. Now, when Miguel and I connected, I had no idea that he was going to send me a whole bunch of games. I literally thought that this book was all I was going to get. But lo, that's not all. Here we have Wretched Country, which I'm looking forward to exploring because I've recently had a rekindled fascination with the Western genre. This looks exciting. It looks comic bookish in nature, almost like a favorite video game maybe that one might play. But the genre of the Western is something that I have been enjoying myself through different game systems. And this has tables, it has really good art, it has little blurbs that are kind of historical, but also delving into what you might call the weird Western genre. So meaning that there's like magic involved in some of this stuff. And I have not played this one, so I'm hoping that maybe I can get into a game, whether that's with people online or in person, or if I have to start something myself, then I will. But this looks really cool. A lot of writing, a lot of characters and character development and world development, which is really cool. And the use of kind of the cinematic style definitely fits here. Mechanically, I think this is compatible with the other Wretched stuff. This is exciting. I'm very, very eager to delve into this and read it more and hopefully play. I always like to play a game before I have to run it because it helps to know how that game can flow. And then usually once I've played a game a few times, I'm ready to run it. Here is Wretched Epoch. I think that each one of these games has influences, right? If I was going to compare these games, maybe I would say that, you know, Wretched might be influenced by, you know, fantasy, D&D, Yaghmour World, but with a little bit of a gonzo vibe. I mean, there's vehicles, there's guns, there's a little bit of everything, which is cool. Wretched Country, obviously Western. Games like Deadlands or Boot Hill maybe were influences. Wretched Epoch, my guess is that this vibe is maybe a little Cthulhu-ish, because if we cut over to the cover, it looks really cool, right? But we also see tentacles. And every time we see tentacles, we think to ourselves, is this game a game of cosmic horror? And my guess is that it is. I do love the quantity of historical information that they provide for each of these games, specifically like Wretched Country and Wretched Epoch. I think that's really cool. World setting stuff, NPCs, adventure options, so many cool things. Lots of tables and charts for you to randomly generate things. But each one of these books is really well produced, which is a very impressive thing to say the least. Because when we're talking about indie games, remember that a lot of times these are people developing these things on their own budget or maybe crowdfunding them to launch them. And then, you know, their sales are crucial to that company being able to produce more content. I really like content that's made by indie games. And if you're not familiar with the OSR concept, OSR means old school Renaissance. It's sort of a movement that tries to draw from old school tabletop role-playing games and bring back that feeling, but oftentimes with slightly different mechanics or, you know, improved or optimized mechanics. Some OSR games are rules light, but these games have their own vibe. I think they're exploring genres that are familiar and exciting to people who like tabletop role-playing games, but also like movies and books and comic books from those different genres. And I think it's really cool that they're putting out this content. Let me get to the big book. So this is Wretched New Flesh, and this was actually the game that I got to play in that was run by Judd at VentureCon 2. It is a robust book, but look at this cover. So this game gave me so many vibes. I got a little bit of like a cyberpunk vibe, but I definitely also got like top secret vibe, you know, like espionage, a little bit of spies and espionage, but also a very noir kind of vibe, right? So if you're looking for something that mixes those elements of mystery with kind of the cyberpunk, neo-futuristic, dystopian world, this is really cool. And I mean, I'm just gonna show you the side view. Look how fat this book is, like compared to their other books even. Like it is an enormous volume of stuff. When you get this book, you're getting your money's worth. This is without a doubt the most epic book. And it just, the layout, the design, again, like the narrative elements, the world building elements are all so really, really cool. And I played Cyberpunk, I played Shadowrun, not in a long time, but I played those games back in the 90s a lot. And this game experience gave me those vibes, but with, I think, an easier mechanical system and a lot more of a smooth kind of gameplay. The options for creating your characters are more than enough for you to make the character that you want to make and have the gaming experience that you want to make. And then just kind of like the skill options, the equipment options are all really cool. You know, there's a saying from the cyberpunk game, like style over substance. And I think this book provides all the style things to make the characters and to have the world setting and the adventures that you want to play. But it is very substantial. Like this book just has so much cool stuff. I mean, there's technology, there's magic, there's so many cool things involved in this game. You got some full color pages, and then you've got a lot of really good art. It just captures that genre so well, that vibe. And I think it's really, at this time, games like Cyberpunk and video games based around that genre are really popular. But sometimes there's something that a role-playing game experience can do that no video game or computer game can achieve. And I think that's one of the values in having a game like this. I mean, there's factions, there are style things, there's just so many cool things. Media and entertainment, that's another chapter within this. So they really give you a ton of really valuable content for you to make an immersive world experience that is cinematic, but also has a really smooth gameplay experience. When I play games, I oftentimes take notes because that's how I grew up playing games. You take notes so that you remember what happened in that game session, and then you can look back on your game notes. And I encourage players to do that. I still have my notes from last summer when I played in Judd's game of Wretched New Flesh. And I look back at those notes, and it could literally be like a movie script. That's how cool the experience was. I want to say thank you to the Red Room. Thank you to Miguel. The fact that you guys sent me all of these books was so generous, and I'm excited to explore them. I'm excited to play with people and ultimately to learn how to run these games so that maybe I can run some of these games on the channel. But most importantly, one of the biggest things here is that it's important for all of us as gamers to open up our palette. Try new games, okay? Try new games that aren't just Dungeons and Dragons, because I grew up playing so many more games than just D&D. And all of those gaming experiences as a player and a GM enriched my abilities and my experience. And it's why I still love games to this day. And I hopefully will play games all of my life. So these games from the Red Room are awesome. I will say as one caveat, these are not kid games. These are games for adults. The content in these books I would consider as mature content. But for adults, this set of games and all the other games that they are producing over at the Red Room are definitely things that you might want to check out, because I had a complete blast and I'm looking forward to playing more of these games in the future. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Unboxing with Bill, featuring a bunch of books from the Wretchedverse produced by the Red Room, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Well, hello, and welcome to Bill Allen World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.